Welcome to Innovations in the Field, brought to you by BASF. Hello, I'm Colleen Callahan, and thank you for subscribing to this podcast series. With harvest completed, we can now look back at the growing season of 2018 and perhaps learn something. Rick Hargrave, a Wisconsin farmer, sure did.
At the beginning of the year is wet, but then we had great heat units, and then in the middle of the year we were dry a little bit, but it did not affect yield much. End of August, September, it started raining again, and we would struggle with wet, all the way up to harvest.
Rick farms 1,000 acres near Berlin, a small town located about halfway between Milwaukee and Green Bay, and straight west of Oshkosh, by gosh. He grew only corn in a year that had several seasons rolled into one.
You have to change your plan as the weather changes, especially with your nitrogen applications. On your heavier ground, I realized a fall tillage is worth quite a few dollars worth going in the spring for warm-up and being able to get on the field.
Once the season got going, it was non-stop until planting was done. His goal is to have inputs pay back 1.5 times his investment. This year, he focused his cost-cutting on plant populations on both dry land and irrigated fields.
I always pushed the envelope on population through the years. I was up to 40,000 on my irrigated land, and I keep backing that down. I have a close friend that does a lot of yield trials, and he's saying, I think we can go to 30 to 32,000 and we're not going to hurt yield. And I question that, going that low, but I'm going to toggle our population back to save a little money again. I'm going to go like 34 to 35,000 under the pivots, and I'm going to go 29 to 31,000 on our dry land now.
Rick says this year's wet and hot conditions made fungicide use a necessity and a great investment of both time and money.
Especially with our wet all the way in the fall, it was kind of a no-brainer to put on fungicide. We put it on at tassel. Paid this year for sure. We're hearing guys getting 30 bushel bumps. I think you're going to see a huge increase in fungicide application next year because of what it did this year.
In our next podcast, Rick comments on his choice of fertilizers and technologies for getting the most for every dollar spent. Rick Hargrave and other leading-edge farmers are featured in select issues of Progressive Farmer Magazine's Innovations in the Field, sponsored by BASF. You can also go online to dtnpf.com/innovations. Check out our 2 related podcasts on this website. Thanks for listening.